practice. So Yoga Nidra, non-sleep deep rest. The focus on the non-sleep deep rest I love because it just says so clearly what this practice is about. It's not focused on sleeping. However, there is a deeply restorative and restful aspect to it because you're lying down in this position and because the guidance is such that it creates the context for you to deeply relax your nervous system. It doesn't mean that you'll always feel relaxed. So as you know, with meditation, you get what's here. So that's where we're starting. However, the practice of non-sleep deep rest, Yoga Nidra, absolutely can bring deep relaxation trends in our body and mind over time when practiced repeatedly, and you can even have a profound experience just with one. So I'd like to start out by laying that foundation that the non-sleep deep rest is a part of this practice. And the Yoga Nidra side of it, which means Nidra means sleep, is basically a way of exploring your states of consciousness within that non-dual and Kashmiri Shaivist tradition that I was taught. So the neat thing is, to me, that this practice, as with Michael's classes, is one that integrates the psyche as well. So it doesn't leave the content of the body and mind behind when we are practicing. You may experience connection with non-dual states, and that's important, but the practice is kind of not leaving ourselves behind. So looking for what areas or places in our psyche and content of our lives are kind of holding us back or keeping us stuck in a view that isn't clear. The idea is not to only be clear, but the idea is that for the love of the practice and for the love of truth, that's what we're headed into with this. So you may hear me mention at the beginning of the practice that it is going to be, we'll invite in this inner anchor, this sense of well-being, this foundation of safety and ease. And the reason we do that is because anything can come up when we meditate. And one priority, especially because it is in this lying down position, is to ensure that we can always return to a state of well-being or ease at any moment during the practice, should anything become overwhelming. We don't assume it will, but we don't know. When you're exploring your mind, you get to encounter what's actually there, not necessarily what we want. So sometimes it is what we want, if we're driven by a desire to understand something deeply. Today, I want to focus on opposites. And for me in the Yoga Nidra practice, this is a unique piece in terms of, if you think of the regular meditation practices, may not focus on this very much. We're going to look at opposites physically in our body. So left side, attention to sensation, left side of our body, attention to sensation, right side. And we'll go back and forth. And then we'll hold both simultaneously. We'll pay attention to sensations of heaviness, sinking, and lightness, spaciousness. So these opposites of feeling in the body. We'll pay attention to opposites of emotion as a way of just looking out for, are there any places in my life emotionally that I feel stuck on one end of the spectrum or fused with something that, were I to sort of open the grip a little bit and see it more clearly and welcome it in, I may be able to feel all the way over to the other side of the spectrum and its opposite. And then feeling both. So I'm not trying to replace my quote negative feeling. I'm simply going back and forth and then feeling both. And something profound happens in our bodies and mind when we can go back and forth between two opposites. Things start to integrate. So if you look at that just emotionally, if you consider a recent emotion that you had that you felt really, it was all you felt. There wasn't much else present. You might not even have a name for it, but it has accompanying body sensations. So consider maybe this emotion that you felt totally fused with. If you can't think of a good example, then maybe go back a little further, whatever it was, not a 20-pound weight, but like a 5-pound weight emotion that you were fused with. And what we'll do in the practice is we'll welcome that in, and then we'll do this thing of looking towards the opposite. If that weren't here, what would be here? Feeling both, feeling back and forth, and then feeling both. And there's something powerful in our psyches when we're in that in-between wake and sleep state that can happen when we're welcoming the whole and not simply trying not to think or, seeing emotions as bad or just something to be gotten past, but really welcoming them deeply in order to sink back more into this quality of awareness and non-dual consciousness. So this also goes for beliefs, the sense that, many of us hold some kind of core limiting belief. I don't think anyone got away from that living on this planet, whether we think that we're just absolutely amazing or whether we think that we're not good enough. We're holding something to be true about ourselves. So maybe just check and see if anything pops up for you. We may encounter this in the practice today, and then we'll do the same. If I weren't guided by this core limiting belief that I'm not safe, or I'm not good enough, or I need to perform to be loved, then what would I be guided by? What kind of more full belief would I hold, or what's the opposite? And then in going back and forth, opposite may not be that believable, we can find this third thing that arises, this insight into, I'm actually okay as I am. And Suzuki Roshi, you're all perfect and you could use a little improvement, or we. So that's the idea here. I wanted to also mention the non-dual piece around, we can have this opposites also with our sense of self and world. So when I'm considering the times that I feel limited and contracted, I need to know, do, get, feel something in order to be whole. And then the times that I feel deeply interconnected with all of life in a way that is outside of, it's a perception, but it's outside of a mental construct. And even with that, we can play this spectrum of opposites, because even when there's a non-dual awakening that happens, and maybe big pieces of conditioning might fall away, still these beliefs and this core kind of limited self can often recongeal or show up again, and then we feel like we got it, we lost it. So playing with both and not seeing either as better, which is hard to do when you have had an experience that shows you that there's so much more than you thought. But being able to welcome the opposites, even of kind of separation, non-separateness, self-world, there can be something important that happens in our body and mind, especially when it's happening from this place of an inquiry for what you love. So each of you could take this practice in any different direction, and what you might be loving right now or hold an intention for today might really be nervous system downregulation. So hang with that, and you can set your intention at the beginning and follow it all the way through to the end and check in with it again at the end. So that's the gift of this kind of practice, is we surf. They're called sheaths in Yoga Nidra, or koshas, where we surf these layers of who we take ourselves to be: body, breath, emotions, sensations, mind, even the sense of self, or you could say an I thought, or the ego. And this which is aware of all that, but not separate from it. In the process, we'll encounter that thing of being an observer, where I am aware of the content that's arising in my experience. And we also may explore what's it like to be observing, like go from a noun to a verb, go from separation to not separation. And there's no, if we do this from a place of acknowledging agenda and not really having a goal, acknowledging intention and being with what actually arises, it can be, for me, an uplifting or fun or engaging practice. It just says, I'm going to go in with the questions I have and trust the wisdom of my body and the psyche to reveal itself. I like the notion of feeling our own perceiving and feeling the perceiving that is coming from everywhere, at the risk of sounding like a total freak right now, but feeling perception and feeling the perceiving that's here. So we'll go all the way to that quote basic that can be very liberating as well. And I often do this practice to chill out. So it can prepare our bodies and minds to recognize truth. So we also don't even have to go in with anything big today. It's just laying the groundwork, laying the preparation for the recognition of truth, which yoga can be like grace. So at the foundation of it, we're exploring control too. Everything's in there in the meditation practice. And that's why I really love Yoga Nidra, is that it lets you go in with what's really here for you and what your intention is. So from that introduction, I think if not everybody's not already in a deeper state of relaxation, we will begin. So start wherever you are, and however you're lying down in this moment, can you make yourself just 10% more comfortable? So shoulder blades maybe down your back. Your hands, just notice, do they want to face up or down, and where are they placed? If there's any minor shifts, feel free to make if you need to move at any time during the practice. This is a space of allowing and welcoming. So begin with an inhalation. Can you follow your inhale all the way in? And the exhale all the way out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Feeling the sensation of the breath as it comes and goes. Noticing any thoughts or feelings that might be here in this moment, and could you turn towards them and welcome them in? They're okay to be here. Nothing needs to be refused, including a part that's in refusal. And open your senses. So this is finding the quality of taste and smell, of sound. So feeling the sound of my voice as it comes to you. Feel your body as a receptivity to sound. If your eyes are closed, noticing any shadows or light across your eyelids. A felt sense of being here, your body resting on the surface that supports you. Can you feel how the surface is supporting you and your body is resting into it? All the senses open globally. So if you noticed any place where you're straining, see if you can relax the senses. just for this practice. Along with that, we'll invite in this quality of an inner anchor or a resource, this inner knowing, embodied knowing, somewhere in yourself that feels at ease, safe. It's okay to be here. And can you notice if there's an image that comes of a place you've been, or if this feeling naturally arises in your experience? We've talked so much about opposites. The opposite may arise. And then can you gently allow your attention to come back to explore, is there a place here of ease, of well-being, as a felt sense in my body? You may scan from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, where you're looking for places of tension. As you come upon them, in welcoming them, they may open. So senses are open. There's connection with this quality of ease, ground, safety, or as much as you can access it. We'll start with this intention. So acknowledging inwardly what brought me here to this moment. And what is it that I would like to leave here with or without, or what's my intention for this practice? Can you root yourself in this intention, naming it inwardly? Perhaps just to see what this is like, to follow along, to let yourself fall asleep, to inquire deeply into the nature of who you are or of an emotion. So your intention, let it arise from the brilliance of your being. And if nothing comes, that's perfectly fine. So we'll do opposites of sensation first. Feeling heaviness and lightness in our body. So with an inhalation, can you feel the whole front side of your body? From the tops of your feet to your face, tops of your arms, chest, belly, legs. Feeling a sense of lightness on an inhale. And you'll inhale and exhale here, but your focus is really on the inhale and on a quality of lightness or spaciousness. So your body's inhaling and exhaling, and your focus is on the whole front side of your body and the qualities of lightness, ease, spaciousness. If at any moment during the practice you would like to direct your attention elsewhere, please do. But if you'd like, you can use my voice to be an anchor for the practice. Now with an exhalation, we'll feel into the whole back side of our body, the back of your head all the way down to your heels. And as you keep exhaling, letting the inhale come naturally and then focusing on the exhale, can you feel a sense of ground, earth, weightedness? The word may be heaviness, or just that feeling of letting go. So inhaling and exhaling, feeling ground, weight, letting the whole backside of your body be the focus. Noticing your thoughts, your mind, And then gently bringing attention back to your exhale. Inhale comes naturally. Backside of the body, ground. Now we'll go back and forth. So with an inhale, feeling a sense of lightness or spaciousness, the whole front side of your body. As you exhale, backside of your body, earth, weightedness, ground, sinking, inhaling. So following your own inhale and exhale. As you explore front side, inhaling, spacious, light. Backside, exhaling, heavy. Feeling of earth. So with each inhale and exhale, shifting attention from the front side of your body to the back side of your body. Notice if the mind comes in or any agenda. Can you allow your attention to simply be on the breath and these opposites of sensation in the body? Taking an inhale, feeling the whole front side of your body spacious, and then exhale both simultaneously. As you breathe in and out now, can you sense front side and back side, your whole body? And the mind can't do this, so let go of thinking and simply sense light and heavy simultaneously, spacious and ground. So felt sense exploration, there's no correct way to do it. As you're breathing in and out, can you also feel just the natural state or the perception that's here shining through your experience? Perceiving rather than separating yourself by observing your experience. Can you feel back a little bit more into the quality of perceiving? It's this verb and out of this noun, out of the separation, just feeling the perceiving, feeling the breath in, the breath out. Notice what you come upon. You may encounter any kind of heartfelt qualities like a presence or love, or simply being with that firsthand experience of perceiving your breath coming and going, your whole body globally. And so now we'll do a body scan, beginning with our jaw and ending in the soles of our feet. So just let my voice be an anchor here, and feel free to, as I name a body part, feel the sensation that you feel, whether it's numbness or strong sensation. And so begin by sensing your jaw and notice if there's any kind of holding or constriction in your jaw, any tension. By exploring the tension, notice it may spontaneously release. You can go even subtler if you like. Something releases and then you feel a little bit more subtle, and that releases. Again, noticing any thoughts, gently reorienting attention to the body, jaw. Sense now both ears. So your left ear, can you feel that as pure sensation? So you might have the image, and then you drop the image and sense your left ear. And then move attention across the midline of your face to your right ear. And feel the sensation of your right ear. Notice your eyes may engage in visualizing it. No problem. And then what happens if you let go of the visualization, sensing your right ear? We'll go back and forth. So sense your left ear, crossing attention through the midline of your head to your left ear, and then back over to your right ear. You can map this with your breath, inhaling to one ear, exhaling to the other. You may sense your eyes gently shifting from left to right, no problem. And now sense both ears simultaneously. You may find as you do so that there's a deeper relaxation in any tension or holding around your ears or inside your ears. Feeling your breath coming and going through your nose or mouth. Doing the same with your eyes. So begin by sensing your left eye, pure sensation. Shift attention across to your right eye. Sensation in and behind your right eye. Let's go back and forth. So shifting attention back to your left eye and back to your right eye. If you'd like, you can pair that with the breath or simply shift attention somatically back and forth. Feeling the eyes, the perceiving. What is it that is perceiving through the eyes? As you now sense both eyes simultaneously. Sensing your forehead in the same way, crown of your head, back of your head. Bringing attention down to the back of your neck. Is there any subtle holding of tension in the back of your neck, holding your head away from the surface that supports you? Just being with whatever tension you come upon or relaxation. This is no agenda to be relaxed. We're simply encountering our body as a radiance of sensation. It may be numb, it may be tied up, whatever it is, we welcome as we encounter it. Now we'll do left side and right side opposite. So bring attention to the entire left side of your body, the left side of your face, left arm and hand, fingers, left side of your torso, left hip and leg and foot. All of your attention is absorbed in your left side as you breathe in and out. If your mind comes in, just gently, with kindness, reorienting attention, sensing the entire left side of your body, left side of your face. Just welcoming our body into awareness. No agenda, just being with what we encounter. Even judgment, spaciousness, tension, whatever's here is here. Images may arise, thoughts. Yet all of the focus is sensorially in the left side of the body and on the breath. Bring your attention across the midline of your body to the right side. And consider the right side of your face, the right side of your torso, arm, hand, fingers, your right hip, right leg, right foot, whole right side. As you breathe in and out, noticing whatever sensation you come upon. It may be spacious, radiant, nothing, to whatever's here. Again, any images or emotions or thoughts may come, welcoming them to be here. Let's go back and forth, moving attention across to the left side of the body. Take an inhale and then exhale all the way down the left side of the body. Moving attention across to the right side of the body. Take an inhale and then exhale down the right side of the body. So as you inhale, you're moving attention back to the left side, exhaling down the left side. Inhale comes naturally, crossing over, exhale down right side. So go back and forth with your breath at your pace. Breathing in and out, first one side and then the opposite. There's no correct way to do this, so simply being aware of whatever it is that you come upon. Just allowing your nervous system to go into perhaps a deeper state of relaxation. not refusing that, as you now sense your entire body. As you take an inhale, your whole body globally, exhaling, whole body, crown of the head all the way down to soles of the feet, both sides, front, back. Some global sensation. So we're taking time, and it takes patience to be with sensations, experience, breath. Can you feel also perhaps making an inquiry into this deeper or more complete form of awareness that's encompassing the entirety of your experience, body, mind, senses, and the world around you? Inquire in, can you feel the quality of perceiving? What is it like to notice breathing, feeling your whole body, perceiving, feeling, knowing, being aware? You may have a felt sense of spaciousness or non-separateness, inquiring into the feeling of perceiving. While also including all of the content, the breath, body, emotions, thoughts, sense of being a unique individual. Self-world, all of it here. It's been called the natural state, this resting as awareness, as this perceiving. No agenda, simply exploring your experience, whatever it is. Can you bring a quality of kindness, of welcoming? There is a sense of non-separateness here. Same, just simply allowing, welcoming, being with, feeling, perceiving. No correct way. As you breathe in, breathe out, feeling body, breath, the surface that supports you, the room around you, all the way out. There's an inquiry that's present for you here, you can stay here. And if you'd like to continue on, then welcome emotions and thoughts, self and world as opposites as well. So checking in with that emotion you may have thought of earlier, or seeing if there's a new emotion here now. What's it like to notice what's the sensation that accompanies this emotion that you sometimes get a little lost or fused or stuck in? Non-judgmentally being here with it, even if you judge it too and hate it, that's welcome. But what's it like to welcome in this emotion that you feel sometimes you can get fused with, noticing the sensations, any images or memories, feeling this perceiving quality of that as well, of that emotion. It might be subtle, so it doesn't have to be a big one. But if you inquire now all the way into the opposite, so if this weren't here, what would be here? Or what do you find at the other end of that spectrum that you can sometimes fuse with? If you feel all the way across to the opposite, what's there? So if it was fear, perhaps it's peace or happiness, it's your own opposite. And can you welcome that as a felt sense in your body? That is the opposite of the first emotion. So feeling the sensations, any images. If you don't quite have access to it, no problem. We're just exploring. It doesn't have to feel believable. We're just welcoming it in, inviting it in, feeling it, getting to know it. And then can you, just as with the other opposites practice, maybe with an exhale, go back to that original emotion if it's here for you. Otherwise, just follow your breath in and out, doing your own inquiry. But going back to the first emotion that was here, welcoming it, feeling it, breathing in and out. And then just as a felt sense, so dropping the story, feel back across that spectrum to the opposite. Maybe it's easier to make contact with if you just feel it as a felt sense, doesn't need a name. So drop a story or a name unless that's really present and you like to inquire with it. And then back to the first. So we'll go back and forth a few more times at your own pace. These are both in you. Now take an inhale with an exhale, sensing both simultaneously, letting go of thinking, simply feeling both sensations somatically simultaneously. Might be a third thing that arises, reveals itself to you. There might be a feeling of a synthesis or welcoming or anything else that's here. Simply notice what's in your experience. It might be outside of language, letting yourself simply feel. Just let yourself know in your psyche that you can return back to this inquiry at any time, or feel free to stay with it as I move us on to the next inquiry with beliefs or thoughts, core stories we've carried about ourselves. So again, following your own meditation. And we'll start with that. Maybe there's a limiting story you've carried that you are in touch with and familiar with, something like, I'm not okay as I am, or I need to do everything right in order to gain acceptance and love. And just welcoming in that belief or story or idea about yourself. It might not be formed either. It might just be a contraction in your body. Just something that might drive you unconsciously, or you know about it, but it still drives you. So we're welcoming in this core held belief that is like a veil for your experience. And so we're welcoming it instead of refusing it. Maybe it's a younger version of yourself that you're welcoming. It may be body sensations, colors, images, memories. You may flash on different ages that you felt motivated by this. How it's changed over time. So we're just welcoming, just being with the landscape of this. It's like a veil that's seen through, or that the perceiving sees through. So welcoming this veil, this belief. And just asking if you're willing, and if this weren't here, so if I weren't believing this one, I didn't have to be driven by that, what might I believe, or what might I know? What's the opposite? As you consider the opposite, it may not exactly feel right, it may feel perfect, whatever it is, just consider what would be here if this weren't here in my psyche. Maybe it's a body feeling of spaciousness or letting go, or stepping into agency, whatever it is. Notice. Let yourself see an image of you perhaps, or just the felt sense of what you'd be driven by. And then we'll go back and forth. So this is that opposites practice again. It takes patience. So if you're here with me, then go into that original core held belief, welcoming it, seeing the images, feeling the sensations in your body. You may be contracted when you believe it. A few breaths, and then coming back over to the opposite. And it may not be believable. It's okay. We're just practicing with the opposites here. So when you go back and forth, so continue that back and forth, the original, the new one, the opposite. The mind can get scrambled. So just like let go of thinking if you can, and simply feel your way into this. And then notice if you hold both simultaneously. So do this at your own pace. You want to possibly take more time to go back and forth. You may be hanging out with one more than the other. And then what if you felt the full spectrum of what you can believe about yourself or the world? The world isn't safe, or I'm not okay, and it's opposite. And as you hold both simultaneously, notice what third kind of insight or truth may arise. So it may have been, I'm not okay as I am, and then I'm perfect just as I am. And maybe that didn't feel that believable. So you just look for what's most true. If I go to my inner knowing, what do I know? Okay, in each moment, I trust myself. I'm willing to take actions I need. I'm committed to this little one here. Whatever it is that comes for you, just let that arise. There's no pressure. And feeling it all simultaneously. Perhaps acknowledging to your psyche or to any images or little ones here that you can make a commitment that if they knock on your door as a messenger, you'll be there. And if you can't in the moment, you'll circle back for them. You're staying connected with yourself, even when it's hard. So we're sifting through these layers, these veils, these koshas down into something more subtle. A sense of being separate, of isolated, contracted. I need something to be okay. I need to know something, do something. That kind of movement of the egoic mind. Not bad, simply natural, but can you welcome that in? Something a little more subtle, but perhaps related to that core belief. Can you welcome in and explore the movement of kind of, you could say, separation or othering or feeling isolated? It's a natural arising in experience, not to be rejected. It may relate back to feelings of loneliness. So we're welcoming it all the way down to the core, not refusing our human need for social connection. But can you feel into the part, that core kind of egoic contraction keeps you separate, self, world, othering. You may have a name for it, but feel subtly, or maybe it's very obvious and you can feel it in your whole body. So just notice what's here, no judging. Even if you judge, it's really that radical welcoming we're doing here. This is a movement that arises within that perceiving. Contraction arises within the perceiving. The preciousness of the experience of contraction and feeling limited as this messenger. So if you have any access with that, then let's explore the opposite. So were that core contraction not held in this moment? Perhaps it's not anyway, but just exploring all the way in. If you go all the way in and through, and that opens out. What do you know about who you are most essentially? There may be a feeling of non-separateness or this open perceiving, this awareness. Feelings maybe here such as spacious or clear or loving, held. Just doing our own exploration into the non-dual, this that's here. There's no separate person that wakes up into this. Just see the feeling of the perceiving, kind of perceiving itself, waking up. Notice as a felt sense in your body, the exploration here. You may be back on feelings of disconnection, isolation. Welcome those. You may be feeling connection, deep interconnectivity. whatever's here in your experience, so valid and real and right. There's no correct way to do this. You feel that radical allowing. So rest here. Feeling body, breath, emotions, thoughts, movement of self, ego, just perceiving presence. If it's here for you, that deep non-separateness. It isn't separate from this content here, from anything that arises within it. So it's almost not an opposite in some ways. It's the wholeness, feeling of wholeness. Maybe qualities that come to you at the heart, like love, care, relief, whatever's here for you, simply welcoming. Profound practice of welcoming. Not as a separate observer, but as the welcoming itself. Rest back all the way into being the welcoming itself. And we'll stay here for a few more moments. May even have this feeling of timelessness. Comes to me the phrase of allowing yourself, allowing your being to be as this clarity. These veils come and go, but resting as this clarity, kind of unobstructed presence shining out. So you breathe in and out now, welcoming your body. So the surface that supports you, can you feel again that backside of your body resting? Your breath coming and going. Allowing yourself to, those veils are going to come and go, those koshas of seeing through, perceiving through emotions and thoughts. And so we welcome that to come and go, allowing that to come back into our experience. But can you picture going through the rest of your evening? So picturing the end of the practice and where you'll head to, what you'll do and say, who you're with. Going all the way into sleep and carrying any gifts or fruits from this practice with you all the way into sleep. taking any restoration from this practice into your evening, into your day as this clear perceiving may have other qualities that you name inwardly. And can you also return to that intention that you set earlier? Notice how that is now. And ask inwardly, is there anything that wants to be acknowledged right now? Just making space for something to show itself to you. Is there anything that wants to be seen, heard, connected with, acknowledged inwardly in this moment? And then making that gesture of welcoming this too, this too. So beginning to come towards a closing. We'll take our time here. There's plenty of time. So first, simply beginning to maybe move fingers and toes, making any little stretching movements, feeling yourself here in the room, people around you. If you're by yourself at home, same. So as you begin to make these little movements, you may open your eyes and then close them again. And open your eyes and close them again. And then you may allow your eyes to open. Maybe they want to stay closed. So really listening to yourself here, and then begin to bring your knees in toward your chest if that's comfortable for you. Let yourself sort of hug your knees to your chest. And then allow yourself to simply roll to one side. And let yourself rest here in this position with a feeling of not rushing. There's nowhere to go, no one to be in this moment. Plenty of time. And then when it feels right, beginning to come back to a seated position. And if you'd like to remain lying down, you're more than welcome. There's not a correct way to do this. And we'll move toward closing the live stream and opening it up within the room, the live room, for questions and reflections. We have 15 more minutes, so really take your time. And Katie, when it feels right. So you've seen the live stream. For those of you who are watching live or who will watch later, thank you very much for your presence and